For our first mini project in digital mapping, what I'm going to have you do is explore spatial data and start to learn what they look like, how they're compiled, what their basic form is, what the structure is that makes spatial data, and then to start thinking about what spatial data allow you to do. That's the interesting part, which is ask questions about the world, explore hypotheses about the world. And so what we're going to do is I'm going to give you a couple sites to choose from and then have you go out and explore and find some spatial data that are interesting to you. I'm going to limit it a little bit. That's what I'm going to talk about in this video to make it possible for us to take these spatial data and take a look at their spatial properties in a really quick and easy way before we throw them into a GIS and explore them in more detail next week. So what I'm going to do is show you how to download a couple files. I'm going to pick one from PASDA. I'm going to pick one from Open Data Philly. Those are the two sites I showed you already. Just so I can show you the process for downloading the files from each of these and to explore them enough to make sure that you're getting the right thing. So what I've done is I've gone to the PASDA repository here, the Pennsylvania Spatial Data Clearinghouse at Penn State, and I just typed in here, once I got here, a keyword. I think I typed in solar. I'm kind of interested in green infrastructures generally. And so once I do that, and you can type in whatever topic you like, or you'll find at PASDA you can search, you can browse by topic at the main PASDA page. Like, I wouldn't suggest imagery just now, but other topics might be interesting to you and get you where you need to go. In my case, I picked solar, and when I check out this file, I see that I can download it in a variety of different formats. If I wanted to, I could take a look at it in Google Earth before I download it. What I'm going to do is download it and then inspect its properties. So I'm just downloading it to some location on my hard drive. I actually put it in my downloads folder. And when I do that, as you can see here, there it is. It's a CSV file, and I'm just going to right-click on that and tell it to open with Excel. If I didn't do that, it would open with a data program that I use that you're going to learn this semester called JMP. And here are the data that I've downloaded. If you've never worked with Excel before, one thing I like to do is just widen the columns a little bit so I can see what I've got. And what I'm looking at here is, it would appear, 55 rows in a data table. These are locations in Philadelphia that are deemed or were in the year 2015. Wow, this is really out of date. Solar installations in Philadelphia. And the most important thing I see here in this data table, well, I see lots of things. I see the address. So where are these? I see the zip code. These various fields tell me things about these locations. Among other things, their solar production. How many kilowatt hours of juice do they produce? And they also have these two fields, the latitude and the longitude. With the latitude and the longitude, I can map these. And so I'm going to show you in a moment how to fiddle around with these really easily by uploading them to Google Maps. So for the moment, I'm going to close this file, and I'm going to switch over to Open Data Philly, another place where you can find lots of data sets. If you go to Open Data Philly and just do a little exploring, you'll see that things are organized topically. What I'm suggesting you do is find files that reference point locations. So where is this thing? Latitude and longitude. But there are other formats that data are available in here. And so if you find something you're really interested in, there are other ways of visualizing it than what I'm about to show you in Google Maps. I'm just showing you the easiest way here. If your particular file requires something more elaborate, you and I can talk about that. What I did, because I'm interested in green infrastructure, is I typed in green just to see what I could find, and I find all these green stormwater infrastructure projects and planning districts. Here are some projects. That's the one I'm interested in. And I see a couple different things. One of them is that this is available as a shapefile. We're going to talk about what that means and what we can do with those next week. A shapefile is a format used by lots of different geographic information systems applications, and we're going to work with shapefiles some this semester. What I'm going to have you do instead, though, is take a look at this CSV version of this file, because a CSV is just a generic data table. It stands for comma separated value. It's just a real basic format that data come in, and just about any data program will open a CSV file. And in fact, in Open Data Philly, I think I tried to show you this yesterday, but I was unable to. In Open Data Philly, there is a preview option here, and you can see that I'm able to take a look at this file, at the contents of the data table, without actually downloading it like I just did. But if I did, the data file would end up in my downloads folder, and it would look a lot like this. It would end with a CSV. That would be the type of file that it is, which is just a generic data file that, like I said, just about any program can open, like Excel or Google Sheets. What I'm looking for in this file, just like in the other one, is coordinates. In this case, the coordinates are right here, X and Y. They look kind of strange. They don't look like degree measurements, but they are actually coordinates. And so we can work with this file. We can map it in a couple different ways. And so in this case, if I thought, okay, this looks interesting, I'll download it, this would work for the purposes of our next step. What I'm going to do now is show you how to open a file, a CSV file, in My Maps. So you have to have a Google Maps account. I do. And you, and so do you, as students at Temple. You actually, well, if you don't already have one, you can create one by going to mymaps.google.com. And what I'm going to do here is add a layer. Oh, I mean import a layer. I already clicked Add Layer. I'm going to import my CSV file. And you can see here that Google is prepared to deal with this file. It's prepared to take a CSV file like this one and figure out what to do with it. So I'm uploading it. It's looking at all the fields, all the codes for the various things in the file, and it's looking for spatial information. It figured out that lat is probably latitude, but this long underscore it didn't know what to do with. I'm going to click that and tell it that's longitude. So Google's smart, not quite that smart. And then I'll click continue, and you'll see it's taking all of the data from this file and just bringing it into Google, and it's referencing these two as spatial coordinates, things that it knows how to map. And when I say continue, eventually choose a column to title your markers. Kilowatt hours. So I get to pick a field that's going to be the thing that's displayed on the map, and I just want to see how much each of these locations produces. I could have picked the name too. It's up to you in your case. And when I click finish, eventually, once it reads it in, it's created point locations for all of those objects. So what have we done? I have taken a file, found a file that I thought was interesting, downloaded it, brought it into Google Maps so that I could draw it. Now there are different formats you might end up working with. We'll talk about that. But right now in this discovery phase, what I'd like you to try to do this week is find a file that's of interest to you and do what I've done with it so that we can talk about what you're seeing and what sort of questions it provokes. That's it for this mini project phase 1. Eventually we're going to do a little bit more mapping with it after next week.